So the next thing to do is the transactions. You know, students are going to start paying fees at the beginning of the term, and you have to, of course, receive fees and also generate reports at the end of the day. And this is how people paid school fees. On the 3rd of January, Emily paid us, so shall create a receipt. We always create a receipt for these transactions. Students are paying our fees. It is not clear whether payment was made at the bank or through cash, but of course the basic assumption here is that they paid us cash, and the student that is paying, in this case, is pays Emily. So you create a sales, you go ahead and create a sales receipt. No, sorry, you will receive payment. Sorry. We create sales receipts just in case if you're selling to new students. So we are receiving payments. We are receiving payments from our students. And in this case, we have pays Emily. Has a balance of 55,000 and is paying it all. So you can easily click here if he's paying all the fees. And this was on 3rd. This was on 3rd of January. This was on 3rd of January. So we can save and new since we want to record another payment. Another one that is paying us is Agava. Rachel. Rachel is paying 50 out of 55,000. So we shall put 50,000 amount. Sometimes we choose the payment methods, okay? And this one paid on February 1st. February 1st. And so we shall save and new. We have another one that is paying. So those of you who don't know how we reached here, we are receiving payments. And so far we have received 2 from 2 students. So we shall go ahead to receive from Isabella Aliso. And this was on 4th of March. So we shall go ahead to pick from Isabella, and this is, Isabella is paying it all, 150. So we can select this. Save and new. Lastly, our team Godwin is paying us. So select a team and is paying 70. So it's making part payment 70,000. So you type the amount here, and this was on 2nd of April. So we'll save and close. Now we have received fees from 4 students, and these are the 4 transactions to deposit. So let's deposit this on our cash account. So let's click on record deposits. We shall select them, select all, which will give us a total amount received as 325,000. So we shall click OK. And let's deposit this on our cash account. So select the account to deposit it to is cash. So we will save and close. So we shall proceed. Government grant was spent as follows in Jan. 2019. Now, we have expenditure for government grant. And this should be specific. So we are going to spend, and I'll say it as to spend, we shall write checks. Go ahead to write checks. And we are going to spend the government grant. Government grant was deposited at Stanbic. So we shall use Stanbic Bank. And our accounts, we are spending on allowances. The allowances account, you check allowances if it is in our chart of accounts. Allowances is not there, so we shall set it up. It's an expense account, but for purposes of better accountability, we shall create a sub account here. I am ticking this, and then I want to add an account which is called government grant expenditure. So this account allowances will be under government grant expenditure, which is a bigger account for allowances. All these three accounts are under government grant expenditure, since it is what we are spending. So it is a sub account, and you see how this is categorized. And so here we are spending.
Excuse me, sir.
I'll make explanations later and questions later. So here, we are spending 500,000 on allowances, and this is Jan 14th, 2020, Jan 14th. So if we were paying particular people, or for purposes, if it is general and it is general allowances, we just record, we don't record the vendor here that we are paying, but you can record the memo, the people that received that allowance for purposes of better accountability. So it's another, we shall save one new, and then we record another one. It's latrine construction. We set this up. It's not in our chart of accounts. It's an expense, yes. It's a sub account of government grant expenditure. And then we shall put the amount as 9 million. That's what we use it. So we spent 9 million on construction of the latrine, and this is Jan. This was on Jan 20th. We recorded all that expenditure on Jan 20th. So we shall save a new. Then we shall add staff houses. Staff houses. I don't know, might have been renovation. Expense is a sub account of government grant expenditure. And so here we spent 10 million. So here It might be maybe it was renovation. You can record it as a memo, and this was on Jan 25th. That's when you came up with the entire accountability, and you can save and close since we have finished the 3 transactions. So the last transaction is also an expenditure. It is also an expenditure, and the following salary expenses were paid using Centenary Bank. So we are going to pay, still we shall write a check, and we are paying all of them on Jan 20th, and we shall use Centenary Bank. You can choose to enter them here, but I would prefer we create them as sub-accounts. So we shall use the people that we are paying. One is Onesimus Aliho. So we set up the account. Of course, set this up as an expense account under salaries. This is under salaries. We want to have accountability for all salaries. Salaries. Save. And then the amount here, we are paying 250. You can, for purposes of better accounting, if you want to add Onesimus Aliho as an employee here, you can add him here. But that means that you will write one check at a go. You write for each of them. You will write a check. Yeah, so now that means that you won't pay another one using the same check. That means that you have to save and new. You have to save and new. So save and new, and then you create another one. Here you're paying Okech Albert. You can add him as your employee, and then make sure your Okech Albert is also given an account here. Get that account under as an expense account under salaries. Sub account of salaries. Go ahead, put the money that you're paying. You save and new. Go ahead, and then you put Peter quick add. Then this very guy, you have to create for him also an expense account as an expense account under salaries. And then you can put the amount as 250. Save and close. So finished spending. And then there were other transactions On 4th of February, paid electricity and water bills 450 and 400 respectively using Centenary Bank. So you will write a check and you are paying also using Centenary Bank. And one of your first expenditure is electricity. You set this account since it is not in our chart of accounts as an expense account. But if you have utilities, you can put it under utilities. But for utilities and equipment, you don't have general utilities account. So you can even create a general account for all other utilities. Where this electricity will be electricity. So electricity will be categorized under utilities, and you can put the amount as 450. And then on the same day, you paid for water bills, set them up also. To be specific, water bills are also under utilities. And here you paid 400,000. And this transaction was bundled. You did it on 4th. It was on 4th of February. It was on 4th of February. So here if you decide to put more than one transaction in one check, you don't need to name the vendor here. So you can save and close. So the next thing, on 4th April, the school participated in the community event where they spent 200. They participated in a community event. So here you are also spending. You record this expenditure as maybe it can be under CSR, community CSR, social responsibility, corporate social responsibility. You set this up. Since it is a school, it is still an expense. And can set that up and explain it. Where the school spends money for community events, it is 200,000, and you put all that under CSR account, and it's an expenditure there. And so this is on 4th of April. So you select the right date here. Then you will save and new. There is another expenditure. That's why I've saved and save and new. On 10th of April 2019, one of the students lost a parent, and 50,000 was spent on fuel to travel, and 100 as condolence. So it depends on what. Now you have to spend this. This we are spending. Let me see. Excuse me. This CSR, we spent it using Centenary Bank. So let's spend it using our cash account. Let's spend on our cash. Let's spend it as cash, since it was not specific that they wrote a check or something. So let's just save this. Just save or change that transaction. So save a new, and we have made a change. And now for fuel, fuel or transport account depends on how you you create this in your chart of accounts. This we can assume we shall create a general transport and travel. Or fuel. Okay, general transport. Let's create a general transport account. Transport and fuel. Let's say you set that up as your account, as your expense accounts in your chart of accounts. And then here you will spend 50,000 as fuel. And then you have condolences. It depends on how you call condolences for students that lose their parents. I don't know how we can categorize the account, but a school can have a general expenses. General expenses. So it's a general other office expenses. Let's just call it under office expenses. So these are office expenses under the office. I'll call it office expenditure. Office expenditure or office expenses. Depends on how you call it. Because if you can even call it condolences, since school can be spending, can have an account where they spend for their students that lose their loved ones, condolences. Can even call it condolences. And you put 100,000, and this was on 10th of April. So you will spend on cash, using cash account, then save and close. So at the end of that day, all transactions are done. You want to look at the reports, you can go to reports. We might not use, these ones will give us same reports for profit and loss or balance sheet standard. But to be specific, we can use industry specific reports, and we use industry specific, and then we want to look at non-profit reports, and then we look at statement of financial income and expenditure. Let's open that report, statement of financial income and expenditure. I can look at all for the entire trading period. We shall have this recorded as this. This 40,000 is showing as an categorized income. Since it was a balance, now that one has to be cleared. You can clear it. But this is how our report reads. Our incomes were school fees, where we collected 1 million. Actually, this 40,000, which was the other opening balance, the balance for one of our students, was also brought as an categorized income. But we can edit this and categorized income as school fees also. So this is our report. We have grant expenditure. You see, for better accounting, we have expenses, we have salaries, we have utilities. So our report is as clear as this. The unclassified, you can customize this report where you remove classes. You can choose to have totals only. Here, you can choose to use totals only. Total only. You can view totals. You can choose to view totals, and this will be your report. Government expenditure. grant expenditure is just there, and your incomes, your government grant, the other one which I said we should receive and record as a deposit on Stanbic is also here. This uncategorized income, if I click in it, I can see its source. It is from a team, must be from a team who had a closing balance, who had a closing balance of 150 and then paid extra. That one you can look for that and the categorized income in our chart of accounts and also call it school fees balances. At the end of the day, the school spent, why do we have spent more than we earned in that period? Really? We have allowances, we have salaries, utilities, total expenses. We have spent a total of and made a loss of 410. Yes. But remember, this was a sample question, so all transactions are not included. That is your statement of financial income and expenditure. You can also have a statement of financial position, which is our balance sheet, statement of financial position. You can have this report, and this shows our balances. You can also customize it to view. This one is very specific. You can customize this report whereby you can remove. Let's see what to remove in this report. Don't want changes and what, so we can customize it here. You do filters and you choose which what to display and what not to display. Let's see, display. See, want to remove some parts. Okay, display columns. There are columns which you can remove. Let's see. Is it here? That filters. Oh, all accounts. Let's see. This is okay, but this is okay still. You can remove. Let's see what to remove. Let's do that maybe next time. But this is our report, which shows our bank balances, shows our accounts receivable, which stands at this. And fixed assets, and then our liabilities and equity. So with these reports, you're good to go. If you decide to use these other reports, these normal ones of ours for profit, you will have them as these. They will look like this, and they are still okay. They are also okay. They are also okay. They are also okay. To use these profit reports for profit-making businesses, they are still okay. Balance sheet standard, they are also good to go with. I think that is according to